A very good evening and welcome. This is News First Weekend Primetime News with me, Ramesh Irukal Bandara. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
Sri Lanka Air Force and Civil Aviation Authority launches investigations into the Hokandara plane crash. The SLFP will not crumble because of crossovers, a statement from the President. Common opposition candidate makes more revelations on corruption. KD Lalkant says that an extensive discussion must be held during the presidential election period on the demands of the working people. Kumar Sangakkara announces he will retire from ODIs after the 2015 World Cup.
On to our top story tonight. After last morning's tragic plane crash involving a Sri Lanka Air Force aircraft in Hokandara, the Sri Lanka Air Force and the Civil Aviation Authority have launched separate investigations. Sri Lanka Air Force Chief of Staff Air Vice Marshal Gagan Bulat-Singhal has said that the investigation report of the special Sri Lanka Air Force investigative team will be handed over to the Air Force commander in the future.
On Friday morning, an Antonov AN-32 aircraft of the Sri Lanka Air Force crashed into a rubber plantation located on Wanaguru Mawatha in Hokandara, killing 4 servicemen including the pilot and co-pilot. Locals whose quick response to the crash resulted in the rescue of 1 serviceman after a valiant effort and a battle with the blaze. News First obtained footage recorded by a local moments after the crash happened. Locals were seen in a tremendous task to contain and douse the blaze even when the fire and rescue teams reached the location. The crash site was once again investigated by the authorities today, and several parts of the debris were taken away by the Sri Lanka Air Force for further investigations. Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, MMC Nimalsiri, said that the CAA will conduct a complete investigation on the operations of the Air Traffic Control Centre when the SLF aircraft crashed. The Sri Lanka Air Force has also requested all the details of property damages caused by the crash be reported to the police. Even today, locals praise the valiant effort made by the pilot to steer the plane away from the houses in the area.
Our houses were saved because the pilot steered the plane away from our houses. If it had come this way, it would have crashed into our house.
The remains of the captain of the aircraft, squadron leader AM Wasanta Abewardena, has been taken to his residence in Valpola, Ibagamua. 33 years old at the time of his demise, the late Wasanta Abewardena had tied the knot just over a month ago.
ස්පෝර්ට්ස් පැත්තේ කරලා මැච් කරේ කරලා එයා පාස් වෙලා
He studied in the maths stream after he was done with sports. He passed and had a target to achieve. That was to be a pilot. Even after leaving school, he always told me that he wanted to be a pilot.
අයියෝ මම පයිලට් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා ඒක කිව්වා මට.
The body of co-pilot Flight Lieutenant A.A. Danukatharanga Amaratunga currently lies at his house in Horana. 29 years old at the time of his demise, Flight Lieutenant Amaratunga was a father of two. The funeral will take place tomorrow. Flight Sergeant M.W. Lalit Priyantha, who also perished in the tragic crash, was a 39-year-old father of two. His final rites will be performed on Monday. Corporal W.W. Amilanuwan Vijay Ratna also died in the crash. His remains have been placed at his residence in Potanayagama, Anuradhapura. He was a 30-year-old father of a 3-year-old daughter. The leading aircraftman who survived the crash continues to receive treatment at the ICU of the National Hospital in Colombo.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, which has a proud history, will not crumble just because someone left, nor will it take pride when someone joins. Now, the president made this statement while addressing a meeting in Narahimpita yesterday.
The Jaya Abhimani program, which was presided by President Mahinda Rajapaksa, was held at the Shalika ground in Narahimpita yesterday. This meeting was held for those who elected to local government institutions and provincial councils from the party since 1991.
ඉතිහාසය පුරාම ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ පාවාදීම් සිදු වුණා. අපේ පක්ෂයේ හිටපු ලේකම්වරු 4 දෙනෙක් ඇර
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party in its history has always been betrayed. Apart from 4 secretaries, everyone else left the party. Some even left and came back. Tissa joined us from the United National Party. That is a different story. But this is the end of the road. Once you come here, there is no turning back. My door is like a saloon door. You can either leave or enter. But just because you leave, we will not fall apart, and neither will we hold pride just because you joined. So we do not have a problem. I told Tissa to come. I got only 1 day. So I told Tissa that the press is waiting, so let's go and hold a press conference. He was reluctant, saying that he cannot do that and that he needs more time. Because he said that he needs to hand in his resignation letter to the party leader, and once he hands in his resignation letter, he would come. So the fact that he first handed his resignation letter to Ranil Wickramasinghe and went to Sirikota and told his party members that he was resigning and why he was resigning showcases the gentlemanliness of Tissa Thanayaka. That is his quality. Tissa isn't someone who eats hoppers in the night and then stabs you in the back in the morning.
ඒකයි මහත්ම ගතිය. රෑ අප්ප කාලා උදේට ගිහිල්ලා පිටිපස්සෙන් පිහියෙන් යන යුගය එහෙම කෙනෙක් නෙවෙයි තිස්සා.
Meanwhile, President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended an event to declare open the presidential campaign office in Waligama Matara yesterday.
මම කියන දේ කරන දේ කියන ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් මිසක්
I am a president who does what he says and tells what he does, not a president who does not do what he says by saying one thing in the morning and another in the evening. I am not a president who just wastes time just lying around at home doing nothing. Even during the time I was a minister, I was amongst the ministers who worked. So I would like to remind you that unlike the other candidates, I am not a kind that would say something in the morning, another in the afternoon and another in the evening, promising things in 24 hours, 100 days and 6 years.
අපේක්ෂකෙක් නොවන බව නම් මම තමුන්නාන්සේලාට මතක් කරනවා.
The president also met with the people of the Valipitia area in Matara yesterday.
Opposition common candidate Maithripala Sirisena made revelations on fraud and corruption at meetings held yesterday and today. Speaking at a meeting last evening in Vennapur, Maithripala Sirisena revealed details of a helicopter deal.
The resources in the country are being used as personal wealth. Last year, 6 choppers were brought down. These helicopters were shared amongst the family, including the princes. They have separate choppers and separate bulletproof vehicles to travel, including the security provided for a prince. This is all public funds. This is your money. There are 2.7 million families in the country that have no means of income. They have no lands or any means of employment. The grassroots levels of the state service are facing a very difficult situation as they cannot live with their current income, especially for a family of 2 or 3 children.
This meeting took place in Thoppua, Vennapur. At this meeting, UPFA member of the Chilau Urban Council Jeevani Karyavasam and Pradesh Sabha member Sharon Fernando pledged their allegiance to common candidate Maithripala Sirisena.
Today, the Rajapaksa regime is eyeing on commissions from the construction sector. We give priority for foreign investments to flow into the country along with the domestic investments, so that new factories and hotels will be created, not employment that pays less and hires in inexperienced workers. This will hire trained and experienced persons. During the next 5 years, we will undertake the means to create 1 million employment opportunities. The late Ranasinghe Premadasa provided breakfast meals and uniforms to 4.3 million school children. There are around 4 million school children and breakfast meals are only provided to 1 million. The breakfast meals for 3 million children are being slashed. I wish to say to you today that when Maithripala Sirisena defeats Mahinda Rajapaksa in a resounding victory, once again we will initiate the breakfast stamp system for school children under our government. This door is not open for thieves, ethanol dealers, drug peddlers, burglars and rapists. This door is only open for persons who are committed to protect the country. I wish to say this on behalf of the United National Party. I saw him say, when one secretary goes, we will bring in another secretary. If the president has at least a little bit of intelligence, he would have understood that the most difficult after losing an election is holding a press conference. For 20 years of defeat, the best person for this with training is Tissa. So the president has thought when he loses on the 9th, he needs to have someone with experience. That is why we provided him with Tissa Attanayaka. That party was created with the sacrifices made by the Bandaranayakas. To create that party, the late SWRD Bandaranayaka had to sell 1,000 acres of land. Today, that leader of the party has sold the party and purchased 1,000 acres of land. That is the difference in that party today. This is not approved in politics. When my friend Lasantha Wickramatunge was killed, I stepped out of parliament and screamed in front of Dinesh Gunawardena and the rest. I told them that if persons like Lasantha are being killed, when we come to the other side, I will not remain another day in the government. Within 5 minutes, the president called me and said, "Do not panic, and I will find out the killers." He said that it was not connected to the government and he will find out everything, and told me not to take decisions under the wrong impression. I spoke against the wrongs, the corruption, the intimidation and drugs. This was aired in the media. One day, the president called me and said that the statements I make will cause an issue for the government. I said that there will be no issue because I am speaking on matters that you promised, matters on what you promised us. It is for these things that we walked. It is for these things that we organized human chains. This is why we raised a voice from the people. I saw the rise of a brutal leader. The reason for this is the executive presidency. You cannot change people without changing the executive presidency.
Meanwhile, speaking at a meeting with youth organizers and officers of agricultural products and research in Badiwava, Polonnaruwa this morning, Maithripala Sirisena expressed the following views.
In 2006, ministers of agriculture from across the world were brought here and said that there is a food shortage that we will have to face in the future and all the nations need to be prepared for it. The program Api Vavamu Ratanagamu was created in the plane when I was returning to Sri Lanka from the United States. You might remember the grand event that we initiated with the permission of the President. We reaped great results from this. The food production in the country increased. However, due to my popularity, the Ministry of Agriculture was taken away from me. 2.7 million people in this country are some of the beneficiaries. Today that money is being spent on election campaigns from temple trees. This is an indecent thing to do. Cargo container loads of mobile phones, ladies' saris, three-wheeler tires are being brought. Tell the people to take everything. But when you go to polls, vote for the swan.
Maithripala Sirisena also made another revelation at a meeting in Panduvasnuwara yesterday.
Last year, millions were spent to bring down a horse from the Buckingham Palace stables of the Queen of England. It was unloaded from the port and directly taken to Nuwara. The little prince got onto a helicopter in Colombo in the morning, gets down in Nuwara, goes on a ride on the horse, and again heads back to Colombo in the helicopter. There is Tarunyata Hetak for the boys and girls of the villages, but it never happens. I wish to ask my dear children, will you allow this to continue?
Chairman of the National Trade Union Centre, K.D. Lalkantha, emphasises the need for a broad discussion on the demands of the working masses during this presidential election period. He made this statement speaking at a forum titled The 2015 Presidential Election, The Working Masses Are Ready. This was held in Colombo yesterday.
It is said that these things are being done for the working masses of the country. What are they? What are being discussed? There are 6.5 million working in the private sector and 1.4 million working in the state sector. A large portion of the working mass is with the state. It is not a small number. So the demands that these people have made over the years needs to be formulated. Bills need to pass in Parliament. There has been no common candidate who speaks of the working masses in the country. There has been no statement made at all. Why is that? We have failed to win the demands of the working people and enter these demands into the national political agenda. What should be done now? There needs to be a struggle from the grassroots level in both the state and private sector in the country during this election period. The person who will should immediately meet these demands for the working class of the country.
K.D. Lalkantha also spoke on a number of facts that need to be included in the policy of the opposition common candidate.
We made a request for 10,000. Ranil Wickremesinghe said okay for it. All in the opposition approved for the 10,000 that we requested. So, those who will come to power cannot move away from this easily. They need to assure us that the remainder of the 10,000 will be given within 100 days of being elected. There's something said of 5,000 rupees within the 100 days. We are not sure if this is a new 5,000 or the same old. We cannot let them take that away. So in Maithripala Sirisena's 100-day policy, there needs to be an inclusion which says that the minimum wage of the state sector needs to be made equal to the minimum wage of the private sector.
Welcome back to the news. Convening a media briefing yesterday, presidential candidate of the Janaseta Peramuna, Venerable Batramulle Seelaratana Thero, expressed these views on his security.
I am asking the people to give me a chance because I understand their problems. Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapaksa are both the same. They are giving false promises. Even as I speak at this media briefing, the Elections Commissioner nor the Inspector General of Police have not provided me with security. If something was to happen to me, would the Elections Commissioner claim responsibility? Will the IGP claim responsibility? Or will the Secretary of Defence claim responsibility? Who will claim responsibility? The police media spokesperson will say they weren't notified. I submitted the letter on the 5th of December. And I can prove the fact that the Elections Commissioner accepted this letter. However, even up to date, he does not have the backbone to provide me with security.
Addressing a media briefing yesterday, the Sri Lanka National Front revealed certain facts regarding a complaint lodged by the party with the Inspector General of Police.
Our party fears that the LTT will be revived and the country will be split into two once again by Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga, Maithripala Sirisena, Rajitha Senaratne and Mangala Samaraweera with the help of the foreign forces and their black money. One of the most miraculous things that happened in our lives was the day the conflict was ended. The entire country must have the privilege of savouring this miracle. But now someone is trying to sabotage this, which is why we lodged a complaint with the Inspector General of Police. We urge that an immediate investigation be launched into the fact that there is an international conspiracy and force that is in effect in the country.
With campaigning for the presidential elections having commenced, politicians are engaged in various activities. Here are some of the programs organized by several government and opposition representatives.
A beauty school was declared open in Ragama Mahabage under the patronage of United National Party Assistant Leader Ravi Karunanayaka.
When we speak about international matters, it is translated into a conspiracy. However, they have defeated the true conspiracy. The importance of this is to bring our little country to an international level. So Maitri rule is needed to put aside this hateful politics and take our innocent Sri Lankans onto the international level, isn't it? This is why we must make use of this opportunity to make a change in this country.
Meanwhile, school books and uniforms were distributed to 400 low-income children in the Colombo Central Electorate under the auspices of MP Ravi Karunanayaka. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa engaged in an awareness program targeting the presidential election in Chilao town this morning.
This isn't an ordinary election. Through this election, we want to convey the message that the people have joined hands with the programs of President Mahinda Rajapaksa to develop the country and its people.
UMP Western Provincial Councillor S.M. Marika discussed about campaigning activities at the UMP office in Kurunava today.
The country is being operated according to the whims of one family. We are living in a country where even the next generation of children have been put in debt. Development today is being done by large amounts of theft. When Maithripala Sirisena emerges victorious, this theft will be eradicated and those benefits will be given to the people. They have added a large amount of defenders. They have made these additions to mentally put down the people who are against the government and are with the UNP and Maithripala Sirisena.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයත් මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මැතිතුමා එක්කත් එකතු වෙන මිනිස්සුන්ව මානසිකව වටන්න කියන එක අපි කියන්න ඕන.
Meanwhile, the second phase of religious programs organised in line with the President's birthday was held at the Abhayarama Purana Viharaya in Narahenpita under the auspices of Health Minister Tissa Tanaka.
හැමදෙනාම දන්නවා ඉදා තිබිච්ච දුෂ්කරතාවය ඉදා තිබිච්ච අසහනීය කරදර.
Everyone knows that the country is now free of the troubled situation. People who show appreciation are scarce in this society and are weak. Do not forget this. People are forgetting what President Mahinda Rajapaksa is doing. And why are we treating him like this? Because he is the person who created a country with an environment where you can be free, speak freely and eat the rice you cooked. Do not forget this.
ව්‍යාකත බත්තුක කන්නට පුළුවන්. වාතාවරණයක් හදලා දෙන්න පුද්ගලයා අමතක කරන්න එපා කවුරුවත්.
Addressing a media briefing today, UNP parliamentarian Dilip Vedarachi played down rumours that he is to defect to the government.
A major controversy has been created because of this forthcoming presidential election that I, a UNP MP in the Hambantota district, am ready to betray the party by working to bring victory to Mahinda Rajapaksa in the People's Alliance and for the position of Fisheries Minister for a sum of 500 million rupees. We have at many instances rejected these claims. We have never betrayed the party.
මම විශේෂයෙන්ම කියන්න කැමතියි කෝටි 50ක් දීවර ඇමතිකමක් දෙන්න අපිට ආරාධනා කරා යම් යම් අවස්ථාවලදී අපි ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරා අපි කවදාවත් පක්ෂේ පාවා දුන්නේ නැහැ.
An incident was reported from Kandy which shows the state of behavior and the mentality of certain people during this election period.
An individual employed at a communication centre in Kandy has been attacked in front of the centre yesterday by a group including a three-wheel driver. The attacked individual expressed these views after being admitted to the Kandy Teaching Hospital. At around 7:30 last night, I waved at one of my friends who was travelling in a tipper. The tipper was carrying a cutout of Mahinda Rajapaksa. One of the three-wheeler drivers who saw me waving called me and asked who I waved at. I said it was someone I know. They said I waved because it was carrying Mahinda Rajapaksa's cutouts and there was a verbal dispute. He said that he will show me who he was and he held my hands along with his brother. The other one was going to attack me but I bent down. Afterwards they hit my head 4 or 5 times. The Kandy police has commenced investigations in this regard.
It's time now for Prime Watch.
The drastic escalation of a dispute between two groups of people in Slave Island last night led to the death of an individual who is a 31-year-old resident of Colombo 2. The police media unit stated that the victim had been stabbed with a broken glass bottle and had died following admission to the National Hospital for injuries sustained during the brawl. The victim has been identified as Isham Qasim, a father of 2. He was stabbed in the neck with the bottle. He died when he reached the hospital. The police stated that the individual responsible for the crime has been identified but has fled the area.
Well, the Department of Meteorology says that there may be a decline in the rain weather conditions in the island over the next few days. However, the department also noted that thunder showers may still prevail in certain provinces. Meanwhile, a landslide was reported from the Badul district owing to heavy showers experienced in the area.
2 line houses from the same JM estate and a house in Harlala were damaged owing to a landslide following heavy rains experienced in the Badul area last evening. Our correspondent stated that cracks have appeared on walls of 2 line houses in the same JM estate. Meanwhile, water barns in several areas of the Badulla, Neluva Road and Badulla Vallimada Main Road have broken away following the heavy rain experienced. 4 spill gates of the Rajangana Reservoir were opened by 2 feet each this morning following heavy showers experienced in several areas of the Anuradhapura district last evening.
On to news overseas now. At least 18 people have died and more than 90 are missing after a landslide on Indonesia's main island of Java. Heavy rain caused the landslide near Jempulang village in central Java. Hundreds of rescuers are searching for survivors, but a lack of heavy equipment is hampering efforts, with many forced to dig with their bare hands. Disaster agency officials said rescue teams had taken about 40 people to hospital. 4 are said to be in a critical condition. The country's national disaster agency said hundreds of houses have been destroyed by the landslide. A landslide in a nearby village on Thursday killed 1 man and forced hundreds to evacuate. Flash floods and landslides are common in Indonesia, triggered by seasonal downpours. Many of the inhabitants of the chain of 17,000 islands live in mountainous areas or near fertile floodplains. On to sports news tonight, Kumar Sangakkara struck 112 as Sri Lanka took an unassailable 4-2 lead in the series against England with a 90-run victory in the 6th one-day international that was played in Kandy today. Sri Lanka's 292 for 7 proved too much for England, who were bowled out for 202 in 41.3 overs despite Joe Root's valiant half-century. Now this is England's 6th successive series defeat. Meanwhile, Kumar Sangakkara also announced today that he will retire after the 2015 Cricket World Cup.
Despite losing opener Mahelaja Wardana early in the day, Kumar Sangakkara and Tilakaratne Dilshan parred Sri Lanka past the 150 mark in 32 overs, giving a hard time to the English bowlers and fielders. After making 68, Dilshan was sent back to the pavilion by Treadwell. Sangakkara, who is due to retire after the World Cup, cashed in, hitting 11 fours and a 6 en route to his 100, his first on his hometown ground.
Moin Ali just won for the last time. Kumar Sangakkara, outstanding player.
Dinesh Chandimal, Thisara Pereira and Jeevan Mendes contributed with reasonable scores to steer the Lankans to score a staggering 92 runs off the final 10 overs of the innings.
You must be... Hold him off the line.
England skipper Alastair Cook and James Taylor fell cheaply at the start of England's chase before Moeen Ali, who struck Dilshan for 2 sixes and a 4 in 1 over, was next to go for 34 of 32 balls when the spinner got one to turn and bounce, with Sangakkara taking the catch. The game was as good as up when Surangal Akmal removed Ravi Bopara and Owen Morgan in successive balls to make the score 84 for 5. All-rounder Wokes did succeed in posting his highest one-day score, showing some decent form with the bat before pushing a simple return catch to Dilshan. Surangal Akmal bagged 4 for 30 while Sachitra Senanayake bagged 3 for 33. Kumar Sangakkara, who played his final match in his hometown Kandy, was adjudged the man of the match.
2 wonderful innings from Sangakkara. Goodbye. Wonderful player, hometown boy, gets a century.
Well, staying in cricket, Australia took 8 wickets in the final session of the first test against India to seal one of the most dramatic test victories seen down under in recent memory. Nathan Lyon was the hero for the hosts, picking up 12 wickets in the game, 7 in the second innings, including the final scalp of Ishant Sharma, who was stumped by wicketkeeper Brad Haddin. Today produced cricket of the highest drama, with controversial umpiring decisions, a truly sensational innings by Indian captain Virat Kohli and Lyon's match-winning heroics. India was in the box seat at tea break, sitting pretty on 2 for 205, needing another 159 runs to win with 8 wickets in hand and 37 overs still remaining. But the tourists collapsed in a dramatic fashion late in the day, losing their last 7 wickets for 73 runs to hand Australia a memorable victory.
Is that in the air? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No. Yes! There we are.
Oh, it's in the air. He's under it. Got it. There it is. To his name. Oh, there's one down the ground. It's mid-off under it. Has he got it? Yes. He'll swallow it. Mitchell Johnson swallows it. Shammies. The crowd are into it here at the Adelaide Oval. Shine. That's it! Nathan Lyon gets 7! What a performance!
On to some rugby news now. Navy Sports Club defeated Army Sports Club in today's encounter of the Inter-Club Rugby League game. The game, which was played at the Racecourse grounds in Colombo, saw Navy Sports Club skippered by Yoshita Rajapaksa in front with 36 points to the Army's 3 at Lemons. Navy Sports Club added 12 more points to their scoreboard in the second half of the game to record a comprehensive 48-3 victory. Navy has now won 6 of their 7 games this season. Well, that's a wrap of primetime news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara. Good night.